the initial couple of points, and I think we sent or maybe told most of it, but I'll repeat that and then go into my other statement. Y'all let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
You're ready?
Ready, guys?
Everybody ready? Okay. Okay, well, obviously we're disappointed in the panel's decision that came down today from Washington, D.C. regarding the FEMA arbitration with Hurricane Gustav. And of course we disagree with that, the panel's view of the evidence. We are pleased with one aspect of the panel's decision, and that is that it's become quite clear to our attorneys that have been pouring through the ruling that they made no finding of any fraud, waste, or abuse of resources by the parish or any of its contractors, and I'm pleased to announce that. And I think that was despite many attempts by FEMA to make it appear as though that were the case. Now, our attorneys, as I said, they are pouring through the ruling still as we're talking, but I have had a brief conversation with him this afternoon, and some of the things that he pointed out to me was that, you know, in this type of proceeding, the panel's not really required to give any detailed justification or evidence for its decision. They only have to state what their decision is, which is what obviously they have done. Through their silence, again, it is our attorney's opinion that because they were not and did not specify any alleged violations of fraud or any such nature, their decision was based on reasons having really nothing to do with any type of legal issues. Our attorneys concluded that they would have grabbed on to some specific violation on the part of the parish when issuing their decision, and since obviously they did not do that, we feel like, again, that their ruling pretty much says there was none of that taking place. Again, their decision to zero out the amount as far as the canals, the panel obviously felt like there was no way to reconstruct the pre-storm as compared to the post-storm conditions in order to arrive at some sort of percentage of recovery. The leaners and hangers, they simply rejected our analysis. The attorneys are continuing to review the decision and are at this time considering what, if any, additional recourse there may be. And of course, they have to carefully weigh the reasonable expectations of pursuing any additional avenues of recourse that there might be. This is somewhat new territory. This was special language put into, as most of you know, by Senator Landrieu, giving us the right for arbitration if it was determined that FEMA had violated any of its rules. That decision was made, and so the arbitration was granted. Most of you know, if not all of you, also are aware that through our initial appeals of the waterway linear and hangers, the appeal to FEMA came back at 0. Then a follow-up second appeal on the linears and hangers came back 0. The waterway appeal was never actually, there was never actually a decision rendered by FEMA, because at that particular time arbitration was put into place, and so we did go to arbitration. I am convinced, having looked through just the initial pages of the ruling and not having really dealt and been into a long-term conversation with my attorney, I am convinced that there was some confusion as to who, if anyone, was in charge out here in the parish when Hurricane Gustav and the cleanup began. They alluded to that because they weren't clear. In all the evidence that was presented from FEMA and the parish, they were not clear. Was it the parish president at that time? And again, we're talking the former parish president administration. Was he in charge? Was OEP director in charge? Was Gravity Drainage District in charge? Was DPW in charge? And they listed off 2 or 3 others, as if indicating it just appeared there was a hodgepodge of decisions being made, and therefore the man at the top, who in my opinion is the parish president, was not clearly in charge day one of Hurricane Gustav debris cleanup. I won't go too much further into that except to say, as all of you know, our administration inherited this problem. We inherited basically a $59+ million problem that's on the backs of Livingston Parish. I am convinced that we have done everything I know to do and everything possible to try to get some satisfaction from the federal government, from this panel of judges, in order that we might get our citizens paid. And I'm just very, very disappointed where we stand right now, because right now it was zero across the board. This could be detrimental to the parish. Now, certainly there are avenues that we will explore, and I would be premature at this time into discussing any of those. I will have follow-up conversations with the attorneys over the next several days. I will have it in executive session at the next regular scheduled council meeting, which I believe is next Thursday, not this coming, but next Thursday. And we will go into executive session because I will lay all of this out for them as well, and hopefully by then we will have, if any recourse or if any direction that we can take, we'll know somewhat what that is, and I will need to certainly advise them of what I've been advised of and speak to them and talk to them in regards to where we are and what's going on at that time. So that gives us roughly a little, over a week to hopefully have our attorneys review and again come up with some sort of game plan, if there's any game plan to be had. I will certainly be reaching out with my senators and delegation in Washington, D.C. Matter of fact, I believe we've already notified them of the decision. We will have follow-up conversations with them to see if they know of any avenue from this. Typically, and Ms. Heidi, I know you're of an attorney background, and probably most of you are aware of this, but typically in binding arbitration, generally speaking, that's it. Guys, I just do not feel like I can sit back at this point with a $59+ million problem. And quite frankly, the work was done. And I don't mean to, the work was done, and if there is any avenue at all, and I don't know of any at this particular time, but if there's any avenue at all, I want to explore it to get our people paid. We have worked extremely hard with every ounce that we have to get us to the table to where we thought we had a fair and impartial panel of judges that would oversee the evidence that was presented and hopefully at the end of the day do what we feel like is the right thing, and that is get Livingston Parish paid, so that we can in turn make our contractors and subcontractors and our citizens paid and made whole. That has not happened, but we're not closing the book yet until the final bell rings, and in my opinion, in my mind, it has not rung yet. But with that, I'll end what I have to say. I don't know that I will have any answers, but you are certainly welcome to ask any questions that you feel like you would like to ask. If it's something that I can get answered over the next day or two, I will certainly get the answer to you.